Oh my goodness, y'all. Milfy, Miss Willow Witch, thank you two so much for the double raid. I very much appreciate it. You caught me at the tail end of my DJ set here. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Rad Nomad. As you can tell, I'm a psychedelic DJ wizard. Not only is this my first DJ set in quite a few months, actually, now that I think about it. Dang, wish I had some magic paper for this because it'd be even cooler to look at it with all the colors. I know, right? Just bring it next time. I don't know. I want to get better about announcing when I do DJ sets because I'll typically kind of save it for the last minute. But oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Nisa. Thank you, Cap. I very much appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in for this. I had a great fucking time doing this. I see we have a couple first time chatters here. Virus One, thank you so much for the happy affiliate anniversary. Thank you so much again, Milfy and Miss Willow Witch. Thank you so much, Jam. Appreciate all of you popping in and saying hi. Um, and thank you for that as well. Um, Milfy, Willow Witch, if you need to rated run, I totally understand. Oh, let me go ahead and I think I need to turn the Twitch alerts back on. Hydrate, that's a great idea, Nisa. I really should. While I go ahead and get that, let me go ahead and throw some background music on so I can kind of decompress a little bit here. Let's do something like... There we go. Do I have the now playing in the window? Yes, I do. Okay, cool. Def, hydrate, and stretch. I really shouldn't I? Holy shit, y'all. Okay, so a couple things. One, I haven't done a DJ set in a few months, and this really fucking motivated me to do some more. I really like planning these out, trying to figure out what I'm going to play. And it's got me thinking about how I want to change up my visuals because I've been using the same visual program now for God ever since I started, basically. So I started back in November 2023 as a way to promote the last EP that I put out, and I need to start thinking about how I want to revamp these DJ sets. I mean, I'm very happy with how it turned out, especially with me being a little bit rusty, but I'll be lurking for a bit. Have fun making music. No problem at all, Milfy. Thank you so much again for stopping by. I appreciate you. Let me go ahead and give both of you two shout outs too while I have everyone's attention. Uh, empty keys is one. And then the other one, we've got Miss Willow Witch. Go check these two streamers out. They are a lot of fun to hang out with. Appreciate you two stopping by. Thank you. So what I was going to say, not only is this the first DJ set that I've done in a while, I didn't realize my affiliate anniversary was this week or today. I literally got the notification like yesterday, and I think I posted on Blue Sky at like the exact time that I got the notification. I'm like, wait a minute, I have an anniversary coming up. I didn't plan shit for it. Um, so the DJ set is just one small part of it. I am going to be continuing on with my vinyl collection as well. So I think I'm going to go ahead and transition over to that. The rest of the stream is going to be just chatting. Figure we'll kind of go over some of the records in my collection, shoot the shit. We're going to add them to a spreadsheet as well. Let me go ahead and close out on some of the programs here because I think my computer started getting mad at me with all the different stuff I have going on. I had a couple messages at OBS telling me like, "Uh-oh, you have an encoding problem." Starting with a bang, then we chill. Yeah, exactly. Gotta reel them in and then keep them here hostage for my music talk. Let me go ahead and just make sure that I have this all set up. Edge browser. Yeah, that looks good to me. And then I don't know how my camera's looking right now. Let's go ahead and angle that too so that I can show everyone the records that I'll be going through. One moment while I set everything up. How's your Wednesday going? Happy Wednesday. My day has been pretty good so far, personally. Okay, cool. Okay. I think we can go ahead and switch over to this screen. Played a lot of Minecraft and had therapy. A good day. That sounds like a fantastic day, Cap. Glad you had a good day. Thank you for reminding me I should probably schedule my next therapy session as well. Oh shit, I didn't realize I just had a black t-shirt on. That's alright. I had in my mind that I was going to put on something a little bit flashier than a black t-shirt, but honestly, I'm not too pressed about it. Alright, y'all. How about we go ahead and... Oh, let me go ahead and... Where's my now playing? Okay. Bop, 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 bop. Microphone all good. Okay, I'm gonna continue to do it the same as last time. So I have a crate of vinyl sitting on my bed. I'm just gonna kind of grab a random one and start riffing off of it, and then we're gonna add it to this handy spreadsheet here. For those of you who did not tune in last time, this is the collection I have so far. I will, I guess I could go ahead and post the link to it right now. Share. Anyone with the link can view. So this is the spreadsheet as it is right now, right? And I'm going to share this on Blue Sky and on Discord as well after this. But feel free to look at this and peruse it. I don't know if there's anything quite notable in here. I have a few, I guess the ones that I have like multiple records for: Charlie XCX, Daft Punk, Death's Dynamic Shroud, Porter Robinson. I've got a couple. Square Pusher. I got a couple. King Crimson, King Gizzard, and the Lizard Wizard. I've got my music taste is pretty it it's not like the widest, I would say, but it spans a lot of different genres. I started off listening to a lot of classic and progressive rock. I was telling people last time that Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon was kind of the album that got me into music. Um, so from there, I kind of just started pretty much renting out all the CDs from the local library that I possibly could, so that I could rip them to iTunes. But that was mostly still like classic and progressive rock. It wasn't until college that I started getting like really into electronic. Like I had heard Daft Punk and Skrillex back in high school, but then it kind of just took the fuck off when I heard Infected Mushroom, Pendulum, Knife Party, and then I just kind of went full force into electronic. So this collection, I'd like to think it's pretty diverse. There are also going to be a handful of records that don't really belong to me. They were pretty much gifted from some family and friends, which while I appreciate, I might not be able to talk to quite as much here. It was funny when that guy came in and was like, "Let me guess what inspired you," and he pulled out Pink Floyd. Well, I kept thinking, like, do I want to like just grab an album like that I know is gonna lead to a conversation, or do I just kind of want to let it happen naturally? But it all worked out because I hadn't got to that. I was like, okay, I could steer this conversation into I guess what you all want to hear real quick. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and get started here. Go ahead and reach into my collection. What do we got? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and start with this. Mm. Sophie's self-titled record, released posthumously, unfortunately. Rest in peace, Sophie. So, for those of you who did not have the pleasure of discovering or listening to her prior to her death a few years back, Sophie was a hyperpop electronic producer, a transgender producer who created some incredibly fantastic music in her time. Um, I very much believe she could have just completely taken the pop like scene by storm with her music. She was already in the process of collaborating with like fucking Madonna, Vince Staples, Kendrick Lamar. Her album Oil of Every Pearl's Uninsides got a Grammy nomination the year it was released. Um, and she had so many collabs in the works by the time her death came around, and it was a very unexpected death. I won't go, I guess, too much into detail. You can all look up that information offline. Um, but we miss her a lot. She has put out a ton of really good music over the years, and this album in particular is the first attempt at I guess, compiling all of the music that she was still working on and fashioning it into an album. So this was put together by, I believe, her brother, if I remember correctly, who also dabbles in music production. So the biggest issue I have with this album is because Sophie did not complete this, it doesn't quite feel complete, right? I mean, and I think you'll probably run into that with pretty much any posthumous album, right? Like there is a point at which the artists themselves are no longer adding additional insight into the album, additional context into the album. That does not necessarily take away from it, and I think there are a lot of really good tracks on this album. The lead single in particular is my favorite for sure, which was let me remember what it was called here. I need a reason why. That's right, featuring Kim Petras and BC Kingdom. Um, there's some good tracks on it. It's definitely not my favorite of Sophie's albums that have been released under her name. Right? You want a real banger of an album? Go check out Oil of Every Pearl's on Insides. Very very good. I need to get that on vinyl. I do not have that one yet. Um, so let's go ahead and add this to our collection. Put you right here. Sophie. Self-titled Sophie. This was released under... I guess there's a few different... Okay, well there's the number. Trans 809X. Did I get that right? No, Trans 809X. Love it. Trans 809X. Released in 2020. Was this 4? 4. And I think this was under her record label, MSMSMSM. MSMSMSM. Okay, cool. Thank you, Sophie, for the great music. Next album. Did I set my... I did not shuffle this playlist. Let's go ahead and shuffle it. Okay, next out. Oh, I just love when I pull fucking bangers. I'm actually going to go ahead and cue the lead song from this album because I know everyone here is going to recognize it. Actually, let me just go ahead and play it. Fuck it. This. What the? Okay, I know we can get this played. 1 second. I feel like I've got you all on the edge of my seat here. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Fragile by Yes. I fucking love Yes. Did I talk about Yes at all last stream? I did, because I pulled Close to the Edge, which is also a fantastic album. You want a good intro to the band Yes? You pick up this fucking album. Because not only does it start with one of the greatest songs in classic rock history, this one, Roundabout, it is just full of such great tracks. Oh my god. Hell yeah. No, I listened to so much Damn Yes when I was in high school. So I'm trying to remember all the members. So Steve Howe's the guitarist. Bill Buford, I think was Bill Bruford, excuse me, was the drummer. Rick Wakeman was the keyboardist. John Anderson on vocals. Chris Squire on bass. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Junie, welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for the happy affiliate anniversary. Appreciate you stopping by here. Where we're discussing Yes right now and listening to the theme song from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. No, this album is really good. South Side of the Sky is a fantastic song on it as well. Heart of the Sunrise is a long opener, but just really good. This also has the thing where, like, a lot of progressive rock bands would make an album where every song has, like, a single contribution from each member. So this has a single contribution for each member. So for example, you have The Fish by Chris Squire, which is effectively like a bass driven song. Like you've got the bass playing like some really pretty harmonies on top. Bill Bruford, I think, had a very chaotic rhythmic small instrumental section. John Anderson had a track where he layered on his vocals on top of each other to create like his own chorus. Um, I could keep praising this album like pretty much as long as I possibly can. It's a great album. Go listen to it, please, if you haven't heard it. This is Yes is Fragile. Yes, Fragile. Was this who released this? Atlantic. ATL 50009. And you were released in, what was this, 1971? Were you 71? Preston, Germany. Hell yeah. I don't see a year. You figure they put years on their albums. I just love listening to people yap, yap, yap about what they're passionate about. I appreciate that, Nisa. I like talking about music, and I guess in hindsight, I'm a little surprised I didn't do something like this sooner. Um, but no, I enjoy talking about it. I'm glad y'all enjoy talking about it too. Let me go ahead and look up when this album was released. Yes, Fragile was released in 1971. Called it. Not 1371, 1971. All right. Apologies, y'all. I rolled right over my microphone. Okay, what do we got next? We have. Okay, yeah, I'm digging it. Alex G, God Save the Animals. I haven't listened to a ton of Alex G's music. He's got this kind of like folky singer-songwriter style, but he gets really fucking weird with it sometimes. And this album is a very solid listen front to back. Um, I love his singing style. It's very relaxing and kind of hypnotizing, but then he's got a bunch of like wonky production choices kind of throughout it. Um, I like this a lot. This holds a near and dear place in my heart to me. So Alex G's "God Save the Animals," ba 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 ba, right here. Alex G, God Save the Animals. Does he have his own record label? Domain Recording. Wig LP 507. And this was released in 2022, I want to say. Come on, man. Gotta put your years on this. 2022. Perfect. Nailed it. All right. I'm actually going to put you all in a stack here. Okay, what do we got next? Okay, let's do another Yes album. Why not? Might start seeing some repeat names here, because I don't think we got into a ton of my prog rock collection last time. Relayer by Yes. Okay, so here's the thing with Yes albums, is that there was a period of time where they only released like 3 or 4 songs on an album, because each of those songs was like anywhere from like 7 minutes to like 25 minutes, because that's what people who made prog rock music did back then. So Relayer is interesting for a couple reasons, right? One, it's another one of those prog epic records. The big sound on this is called I think it's called A Sound of Delirium. Let me double check. The Gates of Delirium, excuse me. So that's the big epic on this. It's 21 minutes and 55 seconds long. Takes up a whole side of the record. But the other reason why this is significant, this is the first album that was put out after the original keyboardist departed from Yes. So the guy they brought in to replace him, let me double check his name. Patrick Moraz was the guy they brought in. So here's the thing. Yes has a very kind of classical approach, in my opinion. Like, if you listen to like how Rick Wakeman plays his keyboard, you could tell he's a classically trained pianist, right? He injects a lot of kind of classic, like kind of that, I guess, classic Baroque orchestration into his music. Patrick is a jazz dude. So this album has a ton of just jazzy solos on it. I mean, Gates of Delirium is really good in that it's like epic and everything, but God, Sound Chaser, oh, that's a fucking bop. Like it is just a groovy ass prog rock track with some really killer um, synthesizer solos in it. Um, really good album. If you listen to Close to the Edge and end up liking it, Relayer is not a bad place to go next. So let's go ahead and add Relayer. Really cool how different people bring their own vibes. And you know what? With a band like Yes, it really works to their advantage. I know that there's, when you have any changes in your band lineup, it's going to cause some amount of difference and might alienate some of your fans, right? But ultimately, it's up to the band to kind of determine how far they want to go with it, right? Whether they think it's worth continuing. Yes is one of those bands that has kind of stood the test of time. Like they're still playing and making music today. They they don't quite have all their original members anymore. I think their guitarist is still original, Steve Howe. Um, but man, their lineup has gone through so many transformations as the years have gone by. Sorry, let me go ahead and fix this so I don't accidentally run over the cord again. Yeah, fun fact, there is a Yes album where they replaced their keyboardist and their lead vocalist with the two members of the Buggles who made Video Killed the Radio Star. That's a wild album if you want to check out that album. Want to hear the Buggles make prog rock? Yes, Relayer. Atlantic. Okay, this one's a long one. SD. 181220698. Was this 74? I'm going to type that in. I don't know if it was released in 74. Oh, that looks like 74 to me. Yep, cool. Relayer. Okay. I don't think I have a lot. I think I have like one or two more Yes albums besides this one. Let's see if I'll pull it. Probably not. I want to try to get something a little bit different. Okay, here's one. I'm so sorry, y'all. This makes me laugh that I'm holding this in my hand, but you know what? I love that I have this. No, we've got an ad break starting. Shit. um. Okay. I'm gonna keep the tension up a little bit, y'all. I need to take a short break anyway, so I'll go ahead and run the ad now. Think about what the album could be. Could be. You're never gonna guess it, but just think anyway. Use this time to get up, get some water, stretch your legs, do what you got to do. Come back in 3 minutes. I'll see y'all then. Go ahead and put up a big old BRB on your screen. And for those of you who are not hearing the ads right now, hello. How you doing? Uh, uh, I'm feeling pretty good about this stream. I'll admit I was a little nervous kind of leading up to it. Just because I felt rusty on DJing. Um, I don't know why. I feel like with streams where I'm like yapping a bunch, I kind of have to prep for it. But now that I'm actually doing it and talking, it feels super duper natural. So, I don't know. I guess it all kind of worked out. But maybe I've just started getting more used to it because I'm doing more yapping on stream in general. Huh. Let me go ahead and poke around, make sure I'm not missing any ones. messages here. Oh, you, you, I feel like I've had to stretch multiple times here. Could be a mechanic. Okay, ads are almost over. Welcome back from ads, everyone. Now for the grand reveal of what album I just pulled. I told you weren't going to guess it. Tuvlo Ladywood signed too, because we bought this record at one of her shows when she came through for a concert. Okay, so I don't listen to a ton of Tuvlo. I do like the songs off this album a lot. There's a handful on this that I'll go back to a lot. I like True Disaster. I like Cool Girl. Um, I like WTF Love Is. There's a handful of Tuvlo songs I like a lot. But I mostly got into her music because of my wife. She's very much more into kind of like pop music and pop production than I am. I enjoy it from time to time, but it's not something I seek out too much. You love Tuvlo, hell yeah. There's like I say, there's a lot of songs I do love by her. Bitches I like a lot. Talking Bodies is really good. Obviously her like really big hits I know pretty well and like a lot. Um, but yeah, this album I very much did enjoy. And a lot of the songs off this, like I go back and listen to a lot, and like it sounds fantastic live. So I'm glad this is a part of my collection. I feel like it's definitely one of the more unlikely parts of my collection here. Tuvlo's Ladywood. Let's go ahead and put you here. Tuvlo Ladywood. Uh, Island Universal Music. Universal Music. And then what's our? Oh God, one of those codes. B 00255425-01. Released in 2017? 16. Tuvlo. You know what? I'm glad we got the signed. I don't think I have a lot of records that are actually signed in my collection here. I have a couple posters that are signed. There's a Future Primitive signed poster over there. I've got a Glitch Mob signed poster somewhere in my storage. I have a Defected Mushroom signed CD. Looking for danger. Ho 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 ho. Yes, 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 yes. Tipper. Broken Soul Jamboree. I said it before on the last time I did this. Tipper is one of my favorite producers, like ever. They're like up in my top like 3 artists ever. Top three is probably like Destiny McShroud, Pink Floyd, and then Tipper. Um, so I went over his Forward Escape album last time, which in my opinion, is one of the single greatest records ever produced and like pressed to vinyl. Amazing record. I said it before. I'm gonna retread a bit of ground here. Um, Tipper is an incredibly talented producer. He's been in the game for several years. He started off doing a lot of kind of new breaks, trip hop, like a little bit down tempo, beat heavy songs. The first song on my DJ set was actually an older Tipper track called Primordial Soup, I believe. Yeah, that sounds right. He started getting a bit weirder with his sound in the late 2000s, and started pioneering a style of music called glitch hop, which is just, I mean, he didn't invent it or anything. It's a style that's been around for a long time. But he started essentially just doing glitch hop with very trippy elements in it. And this is a fantastic example of what that sounds like. So he's this is a good balance of, beats he's made, audio, like electronic music production he's done. He does a lot of like hand drums on this, like tablas, that he's added on a handful of beats in this album. This album feels like walking through a forest in the middle of the night and just listening to all the creatures and like bugs and birds just like chirping and stuff. Like it's perfect, just like night, like exploring music in my opinion. Um, Great album to just put on if you're just trying to fucking vibe. And this is my favorite Tipper album as well. Um, Fantastic, fantastic tracks. I mean, the first half is pretty much all just fucking bangers on it. Big Question, Small Head, Cuckoo, Class 5, Roaming Vapor, Brock Inspector, Dead Soon, Cinder Cone, Harriet Method. Um, Amazing, just track after track after track after track. It's so fucking good. I love this album a lot. This was a repress that came out, I want to say, in 2021? 2020, excuse me. So this was a 2020 repress. And the first of his like represses that he actually started doing consistently, I think. Yeah, because I don't think he did Jettison Mine Hatch until after this one, which we'll get to later. Spoilers. Insert one row above. Dead Soon is also one of my favorite tracks of all time as well. Great, great song. Tipper. Hell, I'll go ahead and cue it next. Why not? Tipper, Dead Soon. I do like this song, so I'll let it keep playing. Broken Soul Jamboree. Tipper Music. Tip 008V. Okay, so this actually came after. 20. The original album came out in 2013, I think, so 2020 repress. Broken Soul Jamboree came out in 20. Oh, I was off by a few years. It came out 2010. Fun fact about Tipper's repressed albums, they're not just represses, they're actually full remixed albums. Why are my eyes doing that? Give me 1 second. There we go. Um, they're not just represses, they're full remixed albums as well. So he literally went back through and like added additional effects, like rebalanced, readjusted it. And he did that. Why are my eyes doing this? Hang on. Sorry, y'all. Let me go ahead and fix my glasses while I do this. I lost my train of thought. He remixed the albums. He had oh yeah, because the process to master something for vinyl is very different, right? There's different like you can't master it like you would like a normal like normal. You can't master it like you would a track that's just going to be like sitting digitally or pressed to like or like burned to CD or something right like that. Like you're allowed to kind of like push everything to its limits. With vinyl, there's a very specific process by which you master it. So what you'll tend to have is engineers will master it specifically for vinyl in a way that's different from like how the regular digital files are being written and distributed online or on CDs or something. Um, so all that said, this is a fucking amazing album to listen to on vinyl. Same with the other one. Same with Forward Escape. Just vinyl makes those two sound better, and that's not just because he went back and remixed it. It's because he knows how to use the vinyl as like a medium of communication. Did it again. Don't mind me. Tipper, Broken Soul Jamboree. All right, what do we got next? Okay, okay, solid pick. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. I love listening to certain artists and bands on vinyl so much. Right? Like certain artists are just I don't know. It's probably just because they had really good taste in like mastering engineers, but some of them are just so good at utilizing that space, right? Like, and it definitely varies, right? You have some artists that sound like okay or kind of comparable, and some artists that just completely blow it out of the park with how good they sound on vinyl. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't listen extensively to Fleetwood Mac. I definitely like a lot of the stuff in the kind of Stevie Nicks, and Lindsey Buckingham era of Fleetwood Mac. I think that's definitely where so many of the hits we tend to know are found. Um, Rhiannon's a very good song. I think that's kind of the biggest one that I certainly listen to over and over again on this. Any of my Dua Lipa albums on vinyl. Oh yeah, I bet that sounds awesome. I don't think I have Dua Lipa in my collection, but hell yeah. No, if you've got like there are certain artists where it's like if I get the opportunity to get something of theirs on vinyl, I'll probably jump at it, just because I know it's gonna sound like amazing. It's like they know what they're doing. They know they're making something good. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. Where is the F? Flume. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. Did I spell that right? Uh, MS2225. I am so sorry. This is not Rumors. This is their self-titled. Wow. Goes to show you what kind of fan I am. Fleetwood. What does the Rumors cover look like then? Aha. That's where I got confused. Okay. Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album. Okay, so Rhiannon is definitely the only song I recognize off this. I probably recognize more off Rumors, and I think I got excited when I saw Fleetwood Mac. That's an album I should get for sure. Uh, Reprise Records, MS. What do we got? 2225. Released 1975. Alright. Yeah, so this shit just sounds bonkers on vinyl. It's so fucking good. Oh, alright. Alright, so we got a beast of a band here. Led Zeppelin. The album that technically doesn't have a title, but we'll just call it Led Zeppelin 4 for simplicity. Um, some of the probably biggest and boldest examples of rock and roll well, classic rock music. Um, Led Zeppelin definitely have a kind of an interesting place in the pantheon of music. There's so much controversy surrounding them and how they ripped off like a ton of like blues musicians in order to like get the big hits that they have. They had to go back and literally like just cite everyone they ripped from. Um, that said, the musicianship on it is fantastic. I do like Led Zeppelin's music a lot, despite the fact that they're not very good at citing their sources. And this album is probably their best, right? It's definitely up there with one of their best. Um, So, I mean, this is the album that has Stairway to Heaven. It's got Black Dog. It's got Rock and Roll. It's got When the Levee Breaks. It's got Going to California. It's got it's got a lot of it has some of their biggest tracks on it. Like it's a no skips album in my opinion. You could just listen to the whole thing through and just get hit with bangers all the way through. It is a very solid album, especially if you're looking for some just really good classic rock. Let's go ahead and add that here. Led Zeppelin. This is my first L record. Father's all-time fave band. My dad's all-time favorite band is the Beatles. But he has an appreciation for Led Zeppelin as well. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure Led Zeppelin 4, that's not the official title. That's just what fans called it. This was around the time where they were kind of getting weird, and each of the members chose, like, their own personas and, like, sigils to represent themselves. So I think the idea is that this album is actually named after those sigils. But there's not really, like, a good way to verify that on this album, I think. Maybe this sleeve has the sigils on it. Yeah, the sleeve doesn't even have the sigils on it. It's kind of a cool fold. COC 39017. I don't know my dad's favorite band, but my mom's favorite band, who I got my music taste from, is Boston. I definitely got my music taste from both of them, and Boston's a fantastic band, too. A lot of great, great songs. Um, so, I feel like I struck the balance between my parents because my mom liked a lot of, like, hair metal type stuff. Like, her biggest band was Bon Jovi. I completely typed that in the wrong area. Alright, one more time. Boston was one of the first CDs I got as a kid from my dad. Hell yeah. COC 39017. 39107. And I'm just going to cheat here. Led Zeppelin 4. I'm guessing this was Capitol Records. I'm not 100% sure on that. Atlantic. Interesting. Released in 1971. My mom got me into Boston, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi. Oh, yeah. We were listening to all of that. Bon Jovi in particular was an interesting one because she's always liked Bon Jovi, but I think she had to rediscover how much she loved Bon Jovi. Because we were watching, it was VH1 Classic. We were watching, like, a recorded live performance of Living on a Prayer, and Mom's like, holy shit, I forgot about Bon Jovi. And literally, like, within a couple months, we were going to Bon Jovi concerts. Like, she was literally pulling my sister and I out of school because they were playing, like, a city over, and we had to go see them. I consider that my first concert. Like, my first real concert. That was back in... Oh, I was in middle school. I was in 7th grade. 2005? 2006? One of those years. Was that on their Have a Nice Day tour? No, I don't think so. Maybe. Okay, next album. Another Yes album. Also one of their weirder ones. Tales from Topographic Oceans. So this came out between Close to the Edge and Relayer. So fun fact, the lead vocalist, John Anderson, is really into mysticism and, like, Hinduism. And the way he writes songs is really... I want to call it abstract. He doesn't write songs with any particular purpose. He kind of just chooses words based on how they feel in his mouth and the emotions that are evoked when he says them. This is a kind of the best example of that, honestly. There is, I think, a little bit of, like, passages taken from the autobiography of a yogi in this. 4 songs, each of them are 20 minutes. So I'm pretty sure this is a double. I think this is a double LP. In my opinion, it's a little bit harder to get into this if you're not quite as up into prog music. The first track is a fucking banger, The Revealing Science of God. Very, very good song. I also like the last one a lot, Nous sommes de soleil. Um, it's it's very just like long, jammy, like hard rock. Vocals that don't really make a whole a lot of sense, but some very, very solid musicianship in it. I'd say check it out. You know, if Close to the Edge was your jam and you're like, it's not weird enough for me, go with this one for sure. Tales from Topographic Oceans. Tail up. Tales. I'm guessing you're on Atlantic as well. Atlantic SD2908. Is it 2-908? Yeah, 2-908. And you were released in 1973? Hell yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay. Uh, I like this cover a lot. You probably figure out why. Love that fucking face. Spangle! Are you spangled? I'm spangled. Spangle is the project by producers Simon Posford, aka Hallucinogen, and Raja Ram. Um, they started this project back in the late 90s, originally influenced by the sounds coming out of the Goa trance scene, which was very psytrance heavy. But they decided to go a bit of an alternate route with it, bringing in elements of ambient music, dub, like reggae music. So this album has some very cool, complex beats and very trippy sound design on it. It's considered one of the kind of pioneering albums in a sound called Cybient, which is psychedelic ambient. Um, this is a really cool fucking album. It is weird as hell. The main track on this is Divine Moments of Truth, aka DMT, which, if you know what that stands for, good for you. Um, but the partnership between these two musicians is so fucking weird because Raja Ram now is in his 80s, I think. I think there's like a 40-year age difference between like Raja and Simon, right? Raja Ram has been around making music since the 60s. Fun fact, he started off in a progressive rock band. He started off as part of like I think he's from Australia, but I think he started playing in like an English band. What was his band called? Let me check. Raja Ram. I need to know this. Quintessence. He was part of the band Quintessence that made psychedelic and progressive rock music in the late 60s and early 70s. He would eventually go on to be the founder of Tip Records, which was a big psytrance label. He would make music as 1200 micrograms, and would generally just kind of be a figure in psytrance, especially the early stuff coming out of Goa in general, right? I kind of see Raja Ram as a bit of a through line between what progressive psychedelic rock music sounded like in the 60s and what trippy modern psychedelic music sounds like today. Um I would love to like dig more into the history there because the fact that he was like on board for like prog rock and psytrance and like the shit that he was doing with Spangle in like Cybient and Psydub and would go on to like make more like psychedelic bass stuff. It's wild shit. Like I love the music so much. Um a lot of the album is Raja Ram like kind of just babbling random stuff over the album and playing his flute to very trippy electronic beats. Um, I like this album a lot. It's a solid album. Spangle are also up there in my favorite bands. I think I said like my top three are Death Dynamic Shroud, Pink Floyd, and Tipper. Spangle's like my number four. Like they are up there. They were my favorite band for a long time before I started digging into other artists. Not to take away from how fantastic Spangle are, but damn, it's a close call. This was released under Twisted Music, which is their record label. I think Simon's record label, actually. TWSLP 4 RM21 2021 repress, originally released 1999? 98. I'm going to double check that before I verify. 98, thank you. Are you spangled? I'm always spangled. I'm so glad I got to see them do, like, a live performance over at Red Rocks in Colorado. I was about to say, because they're technically in, like, a soft retirement now. They're still making music, but they're just not touring it as much. I don't think they're ever going to play with, like, a live backing band again though. Like, because like I said, Raj is in his 80s. Like, I think he's starting to, like, take a seat from touring at this point. All right, what do we got here? Okay, so this is an album I definitely have to listen and probably should have prepped more on in hindsight. It is a Nine Inch Nails record, which I do like a lot of their music. I don't think I'm quite as familiar with this album, though. It's With Teeth. Let me go ahead real quick to see if I recognize any of the songs from With Teeth. This was one that I know my wife picked up. Hell yeah, we got Nine Inch Nails. I definitely have to get more Nine Inch Nails records for my collection here. Okay, yeah, unfortunately I'm not quite as... Oh, The Hand That Feeds. Okay, yeah. So Hand That Feeds is probably the one that I'm most familiar with on this. Yep, I'll go ahead and add this to it, and I need to make a note to actually listen to this. 9 Inch Nails, 9 Inch Nails with Teeth. Halo 19V. Pressed. Released 2005, so this is probably a repressing then. No, it is. Interesting. Original release date. It's gotta be a repress, but it doesn't actually have information on when this got repressed. That's pretty funny. Okay. I nothing. Oh, Interscope. Okay, Interscope Records. Interscope Records. There we go. Alright, what do we got next? Let's do another Spangle, shall we? So this is actually the follow-up to the last one I presented. This is Spangle, Tales of the Inexpressible. First album is a lot more kind of dreary, like ambient, a little bit melancholic. This one's definitely a lot more excited. Like, there's a lot of songs that you just, like, they get me fucking dancing. Like, there's a lot of more upbeat beats on it. Opens up with Dorset Perception, which is it almost feels like kind of an acoustic take on Psytrance, because it's got kind of that pounding beat, but you don't have like the whole electronic like production behind it. It's very stripped back. Star Spangled Banner is great. Banner, excuse me. New Way to Say Hooray. Head Feels Like a Frisbee is a pretty wild one. Honestly, every song on this album is fantastic. I think I like this one a little bit better than the first album, actually, just because of my own tastes. I would definitely recommend starting with the first album, because that's going to give you the best example of what Spangle sounds like. But this is a solid album as well. Tales of the Inexpressible. I think this was also a repress. 2021 repress. They repressed pretty much all their albums back in 2021. Also on Twisted. Tweedo SLP. 13R M21. When did Tales of the Inexpressible come out? 2001. Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and add this. And again, unfortunately, I won't be able to talk too much to it. I'll preface this by saying I did listen to a lot of AC/DC growing up, right? Their Back in Black and Highway to Hell albums are fantastic, right? Some of the best like classic rock in my opinion, especially given that they got a new vocalist like partway into their career, right? You have so many cases of artists where once they lose their vocalist, like that's kind of it for the band. They either go on hiatus or they call it quits or they switch to a new vocalist and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. This was one of the rare cases where they switched to a new vocalist and it just completely like revitalized the band, right? Like Bon Scott was a fantastic singer, don't get me wrong, and he definitely had that kind of bluesy element to it, but Brian Johnson brought this new life into the band. Back in Black is such a great album on it. Which makes it unfortunate to say that this is an album I'm not as familiar with. This ended up being a gift, which I appreciate very much. I just haven't really sat down to listen to it yet. So there's more homework for me. I need to go listen to this album too. So this is Power Up, I think. Yeah, Power Up by AC/DC. And as I'm telling you all this, I don't think I have a whole lot of AC/DC records in my collection, which is unfortunate because Back in Black would absolutely be a great album to add to this. Let's see, whose record label is this? Columbia. Long code. One 94397255561. 2020. Columbia. Hi there, Shui. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the happy affiliate anniversary. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well this evening. Next up, we've got... What do we got? What do we got? King Crimson. Red. You want to talk about bands that have had weird, like, lineup changes. This is a pretty good one. The only member of King Crimson that has stayed consistent through the entire time is our wonderful guitarist here, Robert Fripp, who also doubles as being a very talented kind of producer and mixing engineer. I know he's kind of pioneered a lot with his own style of like production on a lot of the music he's made. I think this album was put out somewhere like either a third or halfway through their career. So they had already started off as a pretty big prog rock band. We're already combining like elements of like rock and jazz and blues and stuff into their music. This album, these are the only three members of the group. I think I need to double check who's on it. Little insert here, excuse me. Okay, yeah. John Wetton on bass and Bill Bruford on drums. Okay, so this is the drummer for Yes, from Yes, is on this record. And then the singer, John Wetton would go on to be a part of Asia in a couple years. It's just I love learning about the fact that like Asia is just a massive supergroup that has like some of the biggest names of prog rock. Like I think like Steve Howe is the guitarist of Asia. The keyboardist is Jeff Downes of the Buggles. Like what a weird like career trajectory so many of these musicians have taken. But this is a solid record. Just very um melancholic, dreadful, not dreadful. There is a sense of dread that kind of goes through this album. It's very dissonant. It's a very unsettling album. I think it's only 5 or 6 songs. Um, Red, Fallen Angel, One More Red Nightmares, Providence, and Starless. Yeah, so it's only 5 songs. But it's fantastic. Like it's a wild ride. If you're looking for some rock music that's a little weirder and out of the ordinary, definitely check this one out. King Crimson Red. Uh, King Crimson Red. I'm gonna guess you were Universal as well. No, you were Atlantic. Atlantic, 1974. SD 18 18110 0698. Oh, 698. Atlantic, 1974. I like this song a lot. I like anything that A.G. Cook touches personally. Ooh. All right, how about we talk about one of my favorite records of all time that just came out a few years ago? Dark Life. Dark Life. Dark Life. Dark Life. I love this. I adore this record so fucking much. Um, Death Iambic Shroud. I already kind of talked about them a little bit last stream. 3-person group made up of Tech Honors, Keith Rankin, and James Webster. Kind of got involved in experimental music scenes over in Ohio, I believe. I think that's where a lot of them are from. Um, they kind of started off just sending mixtapes back and forth to each other. Tech and James also like played in bands and made music together growing up. And by the time this album had come out, the process of sending music mixtapes back and forth had evolved to let's just all get together and put out like a record where it's not just one person contributing like a little bit here and there, or it's not 2 people putting together one mixtape, right? It's 3 people working together to create like this masterpiece, right? Um, so that was actually the album before this, Heavy Black Heart. Dark Life is refined. Dark Life is just this incredible journey into it's late. If you look up like the genre of this, they call it like glitch pop. Essentially, it is pop songwriting with just the trippiest, weirdest production, along with some really cool vaporwave flavored, just like production bliss. I don't know how to put it. It's so good. I love this album so much. Listen to this. Like just listen to this, front to back. Put it on. Um, really great record. Speaking of Death Dynamic Shroud, uh, Dark Life. This was on 100%, I think. $147p. Released 2022. I think this was the same year as 2022. Yeah, same year that God Save the Animals came out. Love this album. Love it so much. Gek. 1000 Gex by the band 100 Gex. Great out. I love this album so much. Like, here's the thing about 100 Gex is that both producers Laura Les and Dylan Brady are like they're very good in their own right. You know, like just super solid hyperpop producers. Dylan Brady has been doing stuff on like the bass music circuit as well for a while. Like he's collabed with like Skrillex. He's collabed with Josh Pan, which were like a lot of artists I used to listen to back when I was like really into bass music. Um, this album is just it's wacky. Like it's almost it's cartoonish. Like they are pushing production to like as far the limits as they can go. Everything is distorted. Everything is just thrown into auto tune and cranked up as high as it will go. They are blending in like techno elements, hardcore elements, ska elements, rock elements, dubstep elements, death metal elements. It feels like you just took music, threw it in a blender, and just like cranked it up to 11. It's so good. It's amazing. I love this album so much. I think the remix album of this got more airplay because they did essentially tap into a lot of other hyperpop groups and producers like A.G. Cook, Dorian Electra, even Fallout Boy had a feature on their remix album. But this one, the original, is always going to be closest to my heart. Uh, 1000 Gex by 100 Gex. These guys. 2019 under Dog Show Records. That's a lot of Gex. I know, right? And they even put out their follow-up album, 10,000 Gex. So, you know, in a few albums, there's going to be over a million Gex and then a billion Gex, and I don't know what we're going to do then. Dog Show Records, MDS003V. Did this come out in 2021? I keep putting it down and then having to look at it. 2019, excuse me. I started listening to this, I think, in 2020. Yes, I did. And I could actually pinpoint exactly when I started listening to it. It was during the lockdowns. It was towards the end of the year. I had gone most of the year not catching COVID, and then I finally caught it in like November time frame, and I was just strapped to my bed for like a week and a half. And I'm like, I'm bored, I gotta do something. I'll just throw on this album that I keep hearing is really good. And it's like, wait, I like hyperpop now. Such a good album. Ugh. Also, you get the chance to see 100 Gex live, go see them. They put on a fantastic show. I wish it was a little bit longer. I think when I saw them, they played for like 45 minutes. But God, it was a really good 45 minutes. Neil Young. Okay. Neil Young with Crazy Horse. Everyone knows This Is Nowhere. Are there any songs of this? I feel like I've heard Running Dry before. Yeah, so this was an album we had inherited from my father-in-law. So, you know, Neil Young's a pretty solid musician. There were a lot of songs I used to learn how to play on guitar when I was doing that more when I was younger. So, like Heart of Gold's pretty solid. Keep on Rockin' in the Free World. He was part of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young as well. Um, it's solid. I don't know how much more I can really speak to it. If you like kind of nice classic folk rock, he's not a bad person to get into as far as that goes. Neil Young. Should probably put down with Crazy Horse. Everybody knows This Is Nowhere. Reprise 6349. RS. Yeah. RS 6349. What's the other reprise record I have? Oh, the Fleetwood Mac one. Okay. And then what year did this come out? It's gonna be coy with me. 1969. That's an old album. All right. Ugh. What do we got next? So for those of you who are keeping count, I guess, in any sort of way, it looks like we've got about 20 records left, which I definitely should be able to get through tonight. I estimated I had about 100 records in my collection, and I think that's where we're going to kind of end up on. Okay, so here's kind of a fun fact. So Brain Salad Surgery by Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. Some big progressive rock guys. I think they're considered one of the first rock supergroups as well. Chris, yeah, isn't that such a sick album cover? Actually, and I think it unfolds too. So, fun fact: the person who designed this album cover is H.R. Giger, who also designed the Xenomorph from the Alien franchise. Yeah, um, he's really fucking good at designing shit, and this album is just, yeah, it's so good. Um, I guess this was apparently supposed to be a dick that just got like censored with a bunch of light as well. I don't know if y'all needed to know that or not, but this is a weird album. It's a really weird album. There's great songs on it. So they have an epic in the back half of the album called Carnival 9, spelled Carn Evil, Karnevil. Um, there's a few other songs on this that are pretty good. I think Still You Turn Me On is on this album, which is kind of just like a ballad with some interesting bridges and stuff. There is a cover of a Ginastera Toccata on this. So Ginastera is an Argentinian composer from like, was he 1900s, 1800s? Toccata is just a wacky ass song. Like, it's super dissonant. It's just explosive, but they did a really good job of translating it into like rock music, right? Like you could tell it definitely came from like a classical track, but it is a banger. I think that's probably one of my favorite ELP songs. Actually, is Toccata. Um, Also, great showcase of Keith Emerson's ability to play the keyboard, right? Like I said, all these prog rock guys are classically trained musicians. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery. Where's them? Where is them? They're right here. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery. Are you on Cotillion as well? You're on Manticore. I think that's their own record label. MC 66669. Too funny number. 1973? 1973. Mm. Okay, who do we got next? It's Supertramp. Breakfast in America. Great album. Supertramp takes up a warm fuzzy spot in my heart. Just some really solid like groovy synth heavy classic rock music. And this album is full of fucking bangers too. Um, Take the Long Way Home. Um, the Logical Song, Goodbye Stranger, Breakfast in America. Just like it's a very solid. I think this came out in the six. This is 79. I would have guessed it was 60s if I didn't know better. Um, Very good classic rock album. I enjoyed this a lot. It's very fun, I guess is a good way to put it. It's just kind of bouncy music. It sounds like it's literally one of those albums where it sounds like everyone had a great time making this. So I appreciate it for that reason. Supertramp's Breakfast in America. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Super Tramp. Breakfast in America. A&M Records. 1979. And what's our catalog number? A&M SP3708. Did I say 37? 37, perfect. Okay. Super Tramp. Ooh. We already heard this song, so I'm going to go ahead and skip it. Raya, welcome on in. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. I appreciate you stopping on by. We are going through what I believe are my last 20 records or so in this collection. This next one is George Clanton's Slide. And the last song to play before this actually was a George Clinton track. I like his music a lot. Like, he is a kind of pop style songwriter that plays like super. How do I even describe it? They're just these kind of like really fuzzy, like chill produced beats. I know he plays like guitar as well on like a lot of these records. Visions of the cop falling down the slide. Yeah, for real. Um, it's one of those albums that's kind of, it taps into the whole, like, you know how vaporwave is supposed to sound nostalgic? It's like his style of like indie pop rock music is supposed to sound nostalgic, right? His live shows are a fuck ton of fun as well. Like, he knows how to like channel like the crowd's energy and like kind of turn it back on them. Like, he got people moshing to what otherwise would have been pretty chill like beats you would bob your head to. The whole crowd was fucking moshing to it. It's great. And Slide is a very solid album here. Make It Forever is a fantastic track on this. It's one that I go back to a lot. Even the opening record, Livin' Loose, yeah, really, really good. Okay, George Clanton. Slide. I believe this was on his 100% Electronica record label as well. $116p. Now, do his records start at 100p, I wonder? Or 101p? I should look that up later. When did this come out? 2000... I'm going to guess this came out in 2018. Let's check. Ooh, I did it. 2018. Hell yeah. Next up, we got a classic. These are all classics, in my opinion. Peter Gabriel. So, that's the name of the album. So, this was Peter Gabriel's big break into like pop music. Like, he was making stuff that I think was charting for the most part. This is what he's known for. This was the moment he became like not even just like a household name, but I talked about this a little bit last stream. Peter Gabriel was the original lead singer of Genesis, right? The band that Phil Collins would go on and kind of catapult to the top of the charts with like Invisible Touch and Duke, those kind of albums. So they started off as like a real prog band, right? Doing like prog epics, doing all these kind of really heady, like, again, classically trained musicianship, right? 20-minute long songs and all that. Peter Gabriel, his ambitions started to exceed both the abilities of the band and also kind of just get on people's nerves. So he took his leave and started his solo career, right? Leaving Phil Collins essentially to backfill and start kind of taking creative control of the band. And for a while, Genesis was charting higher than Peter Gabriel was. Until this album. You had this moment where and I'm trying to remember the exact order of the songs. I think it was the Invisible Touch single of Genesis hit #1 on the charts, and then Sledgehammer from this album hit #1 on the charts. So it was like the first time that a musician left their band and then charted above the band that they left. Great, 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 great album. Really good. Listen to this one all the way through. It's so good. His albums in general can be like a little bit experimental. This is definitely the tamest album he has. It's still super exciting. And just the quality of the songs on here, like Red Rain, Sledgehammer, Don't Give Up, like right away those are three like big bangers. Don't Give Up has a Kate Bush feature on it. Oh my god, In Your Eyes, Mercy Street, Big Time. We Do What We're Told, Milgram's 37. That's a nice kind of like chill, trippy beat on it. Um, Great album. I love this album so much. My dad introduced me to this album at an impressionable age. This was after I had already listened to Pink Floyd, but he was like putting on some Peter Gabriel songs. I'm like, oh, I like this. He's like, okay, let me show you this album now. And it's like, I get it. I understand it. Peter Gabriel's now one of my favorites. Peter Gabriel's like, what number am I up to? Number 5? Peter Gabriel's number 5? I don't know. He's somewhere in my top 10, probably. I like Peter Gabriel a lot. This is his So album. What record label is this under? Geffen. Okay. I don't think that's his label. I don't know whose label that is. GHS 24088. $1986. Peter Gabriel. So, I don't even know what this record is. I'm gonna share it and then not talk about it at all. Sorry, I know that doesn't make very good content here. This was very clearly something I got from my father-in-law. Best of the Blues Project. I don't know who the hell the Blues Project is, but that's kind of a cool album cover, isn't it? That's probably why we picked it up, was because it had a trippy album cover. It's pretty. When did this come out? Let's see. I Want to Be Your Driver is the first song in this album. And then we got Steve's song, Wake Me, Shake Me, I Can't Keep From Crying, Cheryl's Going Home, Flute Thing, Violets of Dawn, No Time Like the Right Time. You know what? This probably is some pretty solid, like, early blues. I have to imagine they've got, like, a little bit of psych rock influence in here. But that's about all I can say about it. I literally don't know anything about the Blues Project. So let's go ahead and add them. The Blues Project. Who do we got? It's the best of. We are on FTS. Oh, Verve Forecast. FTS 3077. Oh. It's a wee bit late, so I'm going to pop a lark and watch in bed. Happy anniversary, dude. No problem at all, Cap. Thank you so much for hanging with me and chatting with me. Appreciate you stopping on by. I hope you have a good rest of your night. Noom. Thank you for the stream streak. 3 stream streak, Raya. I appreciate it. FTS 3077. Oh, I already got that. What year did this come out? We also have an ad break starting soon, so I will be sending y'all to ads in just a bit. Best of the Blues Project. 1989. Okay. For those of you who are hearing my voice still, I'll go ahead and wait for ads to be done, and then we'll go ahead and continue with this. I appreciate you all hanging with me and lurking and listening to me continue to ramble on about music, some of which I am very knowledgeable about, some of it I know nothing about, such as the Best of the Blues project. That's how it goes sometimes. You start building a collection, you start looking in and you go like, how the fuck did I get this in my collection? I'm almost tempted to kind of go back through and figure out like what in my collection can I actually talk about versus what I can't. And I might just end up kind of pulling stuff. Okay. Well, fortunately, I'm looking through it right now, and I think most of the albums that are left are ones that I can actually talk to. Yes. Yes. Okay. Good news, y'all. We only have one album that I'm not going to be able to talk to properly about. The rest I should be able to. Fuck yeah. Y'all having a good evening? Taking it easy. Okay, 20 seconds left of ads, and then we'll get back into the music. Let me go ahead and grab an album on standby, actually. Okay. I won't even look at it until ads over, which is in 5 seconds. Okay. Welcome back from ads, y'all. We're going to keep this moving. Next album. It's Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. So this was a very formative album back from 1973. So 4 guys, David Gilmour, Rick Wright, Roger Waters, Nick Mason. God, I can't believe I blanked on his name. I'm not going to go into the whole spiel. We already went through this album last stream. I have 2 copies of this, apparently. I think I bought the album myself, and then, like, my mother-in-law got me another copy of it. So this is the only album in my collection that I have 2 of. So I'm not going to go into that much detail on it. I've already mentioned this is my favorite album of all time. It's the album that I consider to be the one that got me into music. Is this also the 2023 repress? No, this was a 2016 repress. By Pink Floyd Music. So this was released by their record label. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just add another column for it. Pink Floyd. The Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Floyd Records. 2016 repress. 1973. Catalog number is PFLR LP8. Pretty simple. That's all I have to say about that one. Great record. Go listen to it if you haven't. What the hell are you doing? It's getting harder to choose random albums from this pile. Ooh, now I think this is a single. This is literally a single, but it's as big as a regular LP. I don't have a that's I guess that's a good thing to distinguish here. I don't have a lot of singles in my collection. Almost all of them are LPs with like a handful of EPs here and there. For those of you who don't know, LP is short for long play, which typically is used to refer to albums that are like about 40 minutes long, right? So typically they'll have like a side one that's up to 20 and a side two that's also up to 20. So when you think of an album, it's typically an LP. EP is short for extended play, which is shorter than an LP. I don't know what the distinction is. I'm guessing you could probably go like half that time, like 20 minutes total, maybe 10 minutes on one side, 10 minutes on another. Usually used for like small collections of songs, maybe a group of singles together, something to build up a little bit of hype or hold people over between the next big releases. I've only ever put out EPs on my music because I don't have a whole lot of songs to release at any one time. But this is single. This is just one song on the album. It's Billie Eilish's Everything I Wanted, which is a very good song. I do like this song a lot in her catalog. Um, she does a good job of singing like these kind of soft, gentle ballads. At the risk of shooting myself in the foot here, I do think her last album had too many of them, in my opinion. I really couldn't get into her last album all that much. I really, really liked Happier Than Ever and When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Great albums. Good mix of like ballads and just like banger tracks. Like you could really hear like kind of Phineas's wide range of production on it. But Everything I Wanted is a solid song too. I do recommend it. Obviously, if you like Billie Eilish, like check out all the stuff between. I think Ocean Eyes was her first project. I don't remember if that was an album or an EP though. Billie Eilish, Everything I Wanted, Cobalt Music Publishing. I like how the production studio is Phineas's home studio. That's great. Cobalt Music Publishing. And released in 2020. B0. Okay, I'm gonna have to type this up. B 0032912111. 2020. What do we got next? What do we got next? What do we got next? Desert Dwellers. Breathe. Breath. Breath, not breathe. Breath. Desert Dwellers are. How do I even describe their genre? Psychedelic techno, I guess? Sybient? These guys have been making like these really nice, chill, down-tempo beats for many, many years. I used to say that if you want an example of what Desert Dweller sounds like, step into any like hippie shop that sells a lot of like Buddhist and Hindu style like art and books. They're probably playing Desert Dwellers on the speakers in there, which I guess is just a testament to the kind of vibe that they bring. It's very pretty music that has a lot of influences from instrumentation around the world. I think Breath is one of their most solid and diverse projects that they've ever made. Um, because it's just every single song on this just kind of feels like a little bit of a love letter to a different style of like instrumentation and world music. Trying to think of like a great example on that because I know. Let me see if I can look at it. Yeah, so Longing for Home, as an example, has like these powerful taiko drums and like kind of Japanese style flutes, and the lyrics are in Japanese on this song. I was about to say, Traversing the Endless Road has a lot of, I think, like Turkish and like Middle Eastern instrumentation. So you have these like really complex drum passages. Um, it's a solid album. I like this album a lot. I definitely recommend it. I will say they messed up on the pressing of this vinyl because side A, Traversing the Endless Road, cuts off before the track is finished. They literally ran out of room and could not fit all 3 songs on it, so they just truncated the last song. It pissed me off the first time I heard it. So this is probably one of those cases where it's a solid album. I wouldn't discourage you from getting this on vinyl, but make sure you listen to it outside of vinyl for your first time, just so you don't miss that. Desert Dweller's Breath. Desert Dwellers. This was released on Black Swan Sounds in 2019. Oh, I also got it signed by them. I didn't even realize that. Hell yeah. Also, one of the guys from Desert Dwellers left. It was made up of Amani Friend and Trevor Moontribe, and I think Amani was the one to leave. No, I think it was Trevor. Excuse me. Where is the number on this? I don't see a catalog number. Okay. I guess there is no number. There probably is. I'm just not going to look it up right now. Next album. Yes. 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 Spoonbill Canopy. Super fun, bouncy, energetic, trippy bass music. Glitch hop. Psychedelic dub. Love this album. I played a song off this in my DJ set earlier today called Kulaba. I like this album a lot. This was definitely my favorite the year it came out, and I think it's a strong contender for one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's probably like a top 10 album for me. Also, his dad designed the artwork for this. I don't think it was originally intended to be the art. I think his dad's a painter and just ended up painting something, and then he's like, I'm going to use that for my art. Solid album. A little short. I think it's either less than 40 minutes or just comes right up to the 40-minute mark. But it's good. I like this album a lot. I would strongly recommend checking this album out if you just want some fun, bouncy music. Spoon Bill Canopy. Omelet Records. 2019. We got the drop. What is your record number? I don't see one. Maybe we don't have one, which is weird because I did find a record number on Mosaic Shuffle. That's how it goes sometimes. Next up. Ooh, yes. Another pop record. Lady Gaga, Chromatica. This is my favorite Lady Gaga album, is Chromatica. Which is, it just barely beats out the other albums for me because, like, The Fame is really good, Born This Way is really good. I do like her latest album as well a lot. Those I would consider those, I think, among my top albums. But Chromatica is just, Rain on Me is, I think, one of my favorite songs by her. It's just it's such a fun pop song. I fucking groove to it every time I hear it. 911 is really good. The Elton John collab on it. What is it? Signs from Above. Sign from Above is really good on it. If you haven't heard the remix album of this, that's a solid album as well. I actually think I like Dawn of Chromatica a little bit more than the original album. Ooh, that'd be a good one to get on vinyl. I think at the end of this, if I have extra time, I'm going to start writing down the albums that I really want to get on vinyl, because I know I have a short list that I can go over with people. Lady Gaga, Chromatica. And I think that is the only Lady Gaga album I have in my collection right now. Interscope. And I saw an ID. It's just really, really tiny. Zero, zero. No. Is that a 6? 60031652001. Released in 20... Was this 19? 2020. Chromatica. Lady Gaga. Okay, I think this is the last Yes album in my collection, literally called the Yes album. Um, so this was put out right before Fragile. You know what? They had a couple albums early on in their career where you can kind of tell they're still finding their footing a little bit. Like they had like the songs were okay, like they're not bad or anything. It just kind of felt like they were getting used to it. Like it was a lot more of a folky sound, a lot less groovy, I would say. Their first two albums were Yes, self-titled, and then Time and a Word. Yes, Time and a Word. So this was number 3, the Yes album. This is the album where the Yes sound was actually coming into form, and you could hear elements of what Yes would become on this scattered all throughout this album. It's got so many bangers. It's got Yours Is No Disgrace, Starship Trooper, I've Seen All Good People. Um, it's a good album. Like I don't love it as much as I love Fragile or Close to the Edge or even Relayer, but it is a solid album. Um, Starship Trooper goes fucking hard live. I'm glad I at least got to see Yes once in my life. They played at Summerfest in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This was a little bit before their bass player died, so I got to see the original bass player. They had Steve Howe on guitar. I don't remember who their keyboardist was, but that might have been one of Rick Wakeman's kids, actually. But their lead singer was Benoit David, who was briefly with the band for a bit. And he brought a really good energy. I liked his vocal stylings, even though he wasn't quite John Anderson. Okay, Yes, the Yes album. Somehow I removed this title. The Yes album. Nope, not the Yes Al Blue. Album Atlantic. SD8283. Thank you for keeping it simple. Released in, I'm going to guess you were 71. You could have been 1970. 71. So they put this album out and then put out Fragile like immediately after. What a great year for music. Closey. I like Closey's music a lot. She is such a great sound in bass music in general. Um, so this is actually a two-part LP, kind of similar to the Steel Mogu Clear Tame project by Igloo Ghost that I showed a while. This is 2 EPs in one. So this is Revolution, which in my opinion has a lot more kind of chill, like heavy hitters, and then Harmony, which has a lot brighter sound. That's a lot more kind of like groovy and danceable. If that's probably the best way to put it. Harmony is definitely the one I vibe with more than the other two. The other, I do like on Revolution, Apsara Calling a lot. Like that's such a cool track, especially if you hear it live. But this one, it's just all bangers. It's a Secret Garden. It's Harmony. I think Black Cat's another track on it. Black Panther, excuse me. Lonely Island, Drip. Yeah. So I mean, you can't go wrong with either of these EPs. They're fantastic. Go listen to Closey if you want some kind of just chill bass music that incorporates like instrumentation from like around the world. It's good. Closey. Revolution. Harmony. I'm guessing this was self. Oh, it was Gravitas. Okay, Gravitas recordings. What's going on? Why can't I type anymore? Keyboard doesn't want a keyboard. Okay, give me 1 second, y'all. Is it Google? For some reason, Google Docs doesn't want me to add anything else to this. Could be because I'm signed in on a different account. Give me 1 second, y'all. I don't know how I switched accounts. That's weird. I have a couple different Google accounts that I'll use here, but... Alright, let's try that again. And let me enter this time. Gravitas recordings. That was weird. I don't see a number. There might not be one. Gravitas record ings. When did this pressing come out? Revolution, Harmony. Yeah, see, I don't... This is where it's going to get tricky to... Okay, so the album came out... The pressing came out in 2021, but the EPs themselves came out in different years. So let me go ahead and get those EP dates real quick here. 2016 and 2017. Okay. Closing. Alright, who's next? Who's next? We got Flaming Lips fans in the chat. The Soft Bulletin, also very far up there in terms of albums that I absolutely adore. When I was in college, my freshman year, I roomed with someone who would occasionally play music on his speakers when studying, and he introduced me to a lot of music, right? Like, I heard a couple, like, bands that I was kind of familiar with. Like, I heard Foo Fighters, I heard, like, Alt J and stuff. But then he introduced me to fucking Pretty Lights, which is, like, one of my favorite electronic musicians. But he also played a lot of Flaming Lips. And I remember just really vibing with that. Soft Bulletin, it's such a fun, interesting record. I mean, because it's like it's psychedelic rock. It's indie rock told through a psychedelic lens by guys that originally, I think they started off as like punk bands. Like, I think one of their first releases is literally like the punk musicians are now taking LSD or something. I probably butchered that title. I apologize. But Soft Bulletin's really good. Um, the second track on this, A Spoonful Weighs a Ton, has some really weird production choices on it because, like, it's such a banger of a track, but it ends up like they pass like the drums through one ear and like the synths and guitars through the other ear. So if you're wearing headphones, it sounds weird, but if you're playing it on speakers, it sounds like fantastic and all merged together. Well, come on in, Glow Squid. Excuse me if I can chat. Well, come on in. Thank you for joining. Thank you for redeeming Dark Mode. We're just talking about Flaming Lips Soft Bulletin here, a record I like a lot. So let's go ahead and add this to our list here. Kind of putting all the T's together. The Flaming Lips, the Soft Bulletin. released Lovely Sorts of Death. What a great name for a label. Lovely Sorts of Death. Released in 1999. It's hard to believe that the album is over 26 years old because it does sound really fresh. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna find a number on this one, y'all. Oh, there it is. All right, I gotta stare at this. 527227-1. Subsidiary of Warner Brothers, apparently. Next up. Okay, speaking of Billie Eilish, since I've been talking about her a bunch earlier, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Good album. Very good album. I love the production on this album so much. Phineas is great. Go listen to this. I think this has some of Billie Eilish's best and most interesting tracks on the album. Um, a lot of songs on this album I don't hear a whole lot of that get like a lot of airplay. My Strange Addiction is one of the songs that I go back to the most on this. Um, but I mean, like Bad Guy, it was big when it came out. It's still big in my heart. You Should See Me in a Crown goes pretty hard. I like All the Good Girls Go to Hell and Wish You Were Gay. Those are great tracks. Elo Milo is good as well. That's a fun, vibey track. It's a good listen front to back. I do like this album quite a lot. Billie Eilish. And I keep saying it. It's yeah, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Dark Room. B0029729 dash 01 JK02. That's a long ass one. 2019. You are voted, here I am. I'm the president. I love you. Okay, as we're starting to get close to the end of this collection, I'm gonna grab one of the box sets from earlier. I can speak to this one a little bit. Noisia, Outer Edges. So Noisia was one of these just massive, massive groups that were part of a genre called neurofunk, which is a subset of like drum and bass music. So I think when people think of like what electronic sound design can be pushed to in bass music, maybe they're not pointing to Noisia specifically, but they are pointing to like neurofunk as a whole. And I've got to say that like I can absolutely see why they do that, because the stuff Noisia was doing on this album is pretty wild as far as like electronic experimentation goes. Like it's super heavy, caustic, just groovy beats on it. Um, and stuff that's like made specifically to sound good in headphones, sound good live. My camera is freaking out right now. Let's try to get it back. Focus on my fingers. Thank you. But this box set, I believe there's like a lot of different posters in this. So that's kind of why. I stumbled upon this in a record shop, like a secondhand record shop in San Francisco, like just completely out of nowhere. And there's just a lot of really good, like, it's just a ton of really good posters in this. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Um, the album is very solid as well. There's a lot of really interesting tracks on this. They would go on to put out a remix album too, with a ton of additional bass music producers. I don't think. I think there's. Is this a triple? It's a quadruple LP box set. And what the hell is this on the bottom? Oh, it's just the floor. Never mind. Yeah. Some cool artwork on the packages here. I believe Noisia has since called it quits. All three producers are super talented in their own regards. I know one of the guys, Tice, is still making music. I assume the other two are as well. Tice is the guy in the middle here. Let me look up their names because I assume Nick Roos. Yeah, okay. Nick Roos, Martin Van Sonderen, and Thijs de Vieger. I'm so sorry if I butchered those names. I don't speak Dutch. Um, yeah, they're a Netherlands group of producers. Very talented. Yeah. Okay. Noisia. Let's go ahead and put you. I will also say Noisia's concert was one of my favorite concerts that I've ever been to. Not even just necessarily in terms of the quality of the show they put on, but just the fact that it was a Halloween concert at one of my favorite venues, as a part of a series that I used to go up to called Wormhole Wednesdays, where they would play experimental bass music every Wednesday up in Oakland, California, at a bar called the New Parish. And oh my goodness, one of my favorite bars. Like, just the staff is super fucking friendly. The clientele that goes, the people are super friendly. They have like a wide open courtyard. It was pretty small and intimate, so you could get pretty close to the stage. And then the musicians, they're small enough such that they usually kind of be walking around before and after the show. Not this show specifically, because Noisia were at the time the largest act they had brought in, and they fucking filled that room. It was more packed than I've ever seen it. And it wasn't just Noisia. They had Saruda open with a back-to-back with Nowhere to Boy. I think Ruby My Dear played. I think Secret Recipe played as well, who was one of the resident Wormhole DJs. E-Prom played right after Noisia, so that was fucking fantastic. Ankle Pants played after all of them. And if you don't know who Ankle Pants is, I cannot show you anything on Twitch because that is absolutely going to break TOS. Ankle Pants is an incredibly talented producer that also specializes in just like rigging complex electronic devices to his body. Hey there, Char, welcome on in. Thank you for collecting your daily vinyl. Oh, you got Britney Spears. Good job. Ankle Pants is a very talented producer that makes really wacky, like, experimental house and just glitchy music, but his live shows. Okay. His entire body is covered in sensors and what's I'm totally blanking. What's the word for the device that senses movement? Device that I'm totally gonna I'm totally gonna be not a motion sensor. It's not a gyroscope. Ah, his body's covered in them. Basically just sensors that detect movement all over the place. They're in his hands, they're in his gloves, they're on his microphone that he holds and he wails into. And every single time he makes a move, he triggers a new sound in his music. So he doesn't need like any sort of like button to push or machine to hold or laptop to DJ from. He literally just stands in the crowd or on the front of the stage and just moves to trigger to the next song. Also, he has a rubber mask with a dick nose that sprays water all over the crowd occasionally. And yes, I did get sprayed. Um, Fucking fun show. That is a weird ass show, but I had such a great time at that. I'd love to see him again just for the novelty of it all. Um, yeah, I spent so much time talking about that concert. I need to put this information in. 2016 was when the original album came out. When did this pressing happen? Okay, this pressing also happened. Vision Recordings. Um, VSN 025. What's the name of this box set? Outer Edges box set. Noisia. It's literally just called the box set. Okay. Box set. Hell yeah. Okay, we're getting close, y'all. We definitely have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 albums. 8 albums, I think. 8 albums left. It's gonna get harder for me to choose a random album at this point. Peter Gabriel 3. Actually, it's just called Peter Gabriel, but fans have called it Peter Gabriel 3, and then additional fans have called it Melt because it looks like his face is melting. Peter Gabriel's third solo album is probably his darkest and grittiest that he's put out, and has some really fucking weird songwriting on it. I almost kind of think of it as like, I don't really want to call it a concept album because I don't think that's what he intended. I feel like this album is kind of just exploring like almost like antisocial personalities on it, like just people that are either so uncomfortable in their own skin that they're destructive to themselves or the people around them. Like the first song is literally about like a burglar just kind of talking about how he's going to break into your house. Um I don't remember. He's literally just struggling with like understanding his own place in like as himself and in the wider world around him. Family Snapshot is told from the perspective of someone who's about to do an assassination. Like it's a solid album. Like the songs are fucking dark on it. But the production is super super good. Um Also Phil Collins in the Air Tonight, if you remember that like gated drum like towards the end, that's super iconic. I'm pretty sure this was the first album to popularize that sound, and you could hear it right on the first track, like starting it off right away. Um, Peter Gabriel, Melt. One of my personal favorites of his, not my total favorite. I think my total favorite is Up, which I don't have a pressing of. Peter Gabriel. Gabriel 3, Melt. Also on Geffen Records. GHS. I like how it's even got the price inscribed on it. This album went for $6.98. How funny is that? GHSP 2035. Was this a repress? This might be a repress, y'all. 1980. I don't see any repress info on it. Okay. Okay, so remember when I was very silly and I thought Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album was Rumors and it actually wasn't? Here's Rumors. I do actually have Rumors. This is the album that I was thinking of when I was talking about how much I liked the um, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham elements of Fleetwood Mac, right? And this does have a lot of my favorite songs on it, right? It does have Dreams. It has Go Your Own Way. It has The Chain. God, The Chain's such a banger of a track. Um, I like it a lot. Just some nice bluesy, folky rock music. Fleetwood Mac, Rumors. Uh, Warner Bros. Records. 1977. BSK 3010. Okay, I'm gonna stop pulling random albums now. I'm just gonna grab Death's Dynamic Shroud, Neon Memories EP. Okay, so leading up to the hype of Dark Life, they started putting out a bunch of singles, right? There were 4 singles they put out: Judgment Bolt, Neon Memories, Mess to E102, and Fall For Me. The middle 2 tracks they decided to release as vinyl, as EPs, with some additional bonus tracks on them. Now, at the time, I didn't know that they would eventually put them together on their own album after Angel, which I did also get as well and went over last time. But they had unheard music on this album that I got specifically for that. And I did end up hearing the other EP too, the Mesta E102 album, and that had some solid tracks on it. This one had my favorite of the bonus tracks on it though, because it had, what did it fucking have on it? CD Player 5, It's Only Pain, Cover My Eyes, and You Don't Care, which are all very, very good Death Dynamic Shroud tracks that are very much under the radar compared to the rest of the Death Dynamic Shroud album. Just get after Angel. I mean, you're gonna get all those songs on this. You're gonna get the ones on Mesta E102, and you're gonna get the ones that didn't make it to either. Right? You're Burning Me Up Like This and Killed the Duke of Earl. Just get that one. It's such a good release. But I'm super happy I have this. Like, because again, this was the first time I had heard a lot of these extra songs that they were putting together, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna get a way to listen to them prior to that. So, Neon Memories. Neon Memories, 100% electronica. (2022). I don't see a catalog number on this one. It's a bit of a wonky cover too. Oh, 147 PA. That's kind of cool. Okay, so 147p was Death Dynamic Shroud, Dark Life. 147 PA is Neon Memories. So I'm wondering if 147 PB is the Mesta E102 vinyl. That's kind of neat. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm not going to be able to really talk about this one as much. This was another hand-me-down from my father-in-law. Al Jarreau, High Crime. Let me look up what style of music this is. Jazz, pop, and R&B. Okay. I mean, like, I absolutely vibe with that style of music. Unfortunately, I just don't know anything about this album. I'll assign it to myself as homework again. Al Jarreau. High Crime. Released in 84. And I think it was Warner Brothers. Two 25106-1. Okay, we're getting to the last little bits here. Final stretch. Alan Parsons Project. I, Robot. I found this at a antique shop a while back. I like this a lot. It's very kind of groovy. It's Alan Parsons. They're considered prog rock music, but I think they're also kind of on the fringe of like, I'd almost call this like a disco forward album. Isn't that weird? There's like a few prog bands that like have disco songs. Pink Floyd has disco music. Another Brick in the Wall? That's a disco beat. Like, come on. The big song off this album is I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You, which I like a lot. That was in my rotation for a while. I think that's even the lead song off this album. I do like this album. I don't quite remember a whole lot of it outside of the lead singles. It's pretty solid. I mean, it's obviously influenced by Isaac Asimov's I, Robot, right? Kind of inspired by that whole kind of like lore about what does it take to kind of like design a robot in such a way that it won't turn on humans, right? Which is unfortunately timely given everything that's happening right now. But I mean, it's a solid album. Alan Parsons, iRobot. Okay, sorry. The Alan Parsons. I'm going to go ahead and put it down here. The Alan Parsons Project. iRobot. 1976. Arista Records. See, I haven't heard that one. Give me a number. 0798. Thank you. Very simple. I love it when they keep it simple for me. Okay. 3 albums left. Tipper. Tipper, Tipper. This was the first Tipper album I picked up. Jettison, Mind, Hatch. So I had gotten into Tipper. I had heard a little bit of Tipper's music around 2013, 2014 timeframe. He used to come up on my Pandora a lot. But I didn't really internalize the beauty that was Tipper until probably closer to 2017, 2018. The first time I ever saw him was 2018 at the Lightning in a Bottle Music Festival in California. It was also the first time I took acid, don't tell anyone. And it completely blew my mind. Fun show. This was the first album that came out that I was looking forward to because it was like, now I'm on the Tipper train, right? Now I'm actively looking forward to the albums he's putting out. Yeah, so this one came out in 2019. It was his first album since Forward Escape, which was, again, 2014 timeframe. And this was around the time he started. I guess he had already moved to this format where all of his albums were considered more down tempo, like kind of like not that they weren't exciting, but they're definitely a lot more chill, atmospheric type beats. And then his EPs will be dedicated to his like grooving, like heavy hitting songs, right? So this is kind of a mix of both. Like there's really fucking heavy beats on this, but again, it's mostly down tempo. I do like the album cover design a lot though, right? I'm gonna have to dig up. I made an old meme on this where someone else had taken the face, because this is supposed to be a face that's kind of like disconnected, and put it all back together so it looks like a weird robot head listening to music. And I made a meme that was like before and after Tipper. I'm gonna have to find that at some point. But Tipper, Jettison Mind Hatch. And that's the last Tipper album I have. Tip 0, 0. What are you, 9? Tip 009? I hate everyone equivalently. Where's your number? Don't be coy. My God. I can't find a number, y'all. We're gonna have to bypass that. I'm gonna guess it's tip 9, but I won't put it down until I know for sure. 2019. Jettison Mind Hatch. I can't begin to describe the insane amount of hype that was around this album that I'm going to show you. So, when I'm going to introduce it this way. So, when I first started getting into West Coast bass music, right, there was an artist I listened to by the name of Bleep Bloop, right? Guy from California, right? I don't remember quite what part of California he's in, but he's doing these really thick, bass heavy, trippy, hip hop influenced, dark, dank beats. And I'm hearing it, I'm like, wow, I haven't heard anything like this. So I gotta go and listen to as much music as I can, right? And that's how I discovered other artists, right? G. Jones, Yeti, Minnesota, who would be the guy who'd actually get me to start making my own music because I heard a song of his. I was like, I want to make something that pretty one day. So I got into all this West Coast bass music, right? And there was one artist that had been kind of like well connected and had a lot of people look to him as like kind of a smaller up and coming guy in the scene. His name is G. Jones. He's from Santa Cruz, California. He was one of the first bass music shows that I ever saw when I moved out here. He did a back-to-back DJ set with Minnesota, and he put out his debut album, I want to say in 2016, 2017. It's called The Ineffable Truth. And when I tell you that this album blew my mind as far as like a whole bass music record goes, like that's an understatement. And as I'm holding this in my hands right now, explaining all of this to you, I'm realizing it's been way too long since I listened to this. I absolutely need to put it on again because this is probably one of the greatest West Coast bass albums ever released. Like I know I already have like Drink the Sea by Glitch Mob on here. That probably is like the real best one. But man, this album is so fucking good. Um, he's also very influenced by Porter Robinson. So one thing you'll notice too is that he's actually done a back-to-back DJ set with Virtual Self, which is one of Porter Robinson's other projects. Um I don't know what it is they bring out of each other, but it's so fucking good. I'm gonna turn down this music a little bit because I think it's a bit louder. G Jones, The Ineffable Truth. Just such a good example of like neurofunk, halftime, dubstep, wave music. Wave is not a genre I've talked a lot about at all. It's just kind of like this mishmash of different chill like beat type music with heavy bass. Um, G Jones, that's what I was gonna do. G Jones. The G stands for Greg, I believe. Greg Jones. The Ineffable Truth. His live shows are also fantastic. I haven't seen a G Jones live show in when was the last time I saw him? 2019? I need to go see him. Holy shit. Was this on his record label? I think this was on his record label. It's all in code. This is decipherable. I just don't know how to decipher it. I think it was on his record label, Ineffable. But I'm gonna double check that before I type that in. The Ineffable Truth. You gotta lay it down on me. Illusory Records, excuse me. Not Ineffable. IL-10, released in 2018. Okay. Alright, where are we going? Okay. One more record, y'all. Give yourselves a pat on the back for getting us this far. I'm going to have to reorganize this once I end stream here, but I saved one of my personal favorites in my collection for last just because I love this sleeve design. It's not really a box set so much as it is just a very fancy pressing of this particular record. It's another Spangle record. It's called Nothing Lasts But Nothing Is Lost. So I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but each of these little like graphics, right, is raised and has kind of like a sheen on it. So it looks like a microchip, right? Or like a PCB. It's got the Spangle mask in front, nothing lasts but nothing is lost. Super, super thick construction. I love the art on this so much. I mean, like, I love the Spangle mask in general. It's such a wild piece of art that speaks to how trippy the band is. But man, they did such a fucking good job with this. And it's just like banger, like art piece after art piece after art piece. Yeah, really good art. I feel like I'm doing story time in like kindergarten or something. And then Spangle wrote an album called Nothing Lasts But Nothing Is Lost. Ooh. This came out in 2003? 2005, excuse me. Spangle. Nothing lasts, but nothing is lost. Twisted. Oh, don't be coy with me. You've got to have the... Dedicated to the memory of Terence McKenna. Very renowned psychonaut. Okay, this repress was in 2018. I don't know where the number is on this, though. Okay. Well, I'll just put down 2018 repress. We did it, y'all. We made it through every single record in my collection. I am 99.9% sure I don't have any other records. I totally lied. I have a couple more records to go through. Sorry, y'all. Y'all thought you were going to get out early, huh? These will be quick. These look like they're 2 records that I completely missed. I'm glad I looked down when I did. Chapel Roan. We all love Chapel Roan, right? Pink Pony Club. I definitely didn't go run out and get this album when I first heard that song because I liked it so much. I really liked this album, you know? I like a lot of songs on it. I was listening to a lot of Chapel Roan. She kind of was my in back into pop music, like, over the past couple years. I wish she kept the momentum going because I did like The Giver a lot. The Subway was okay. Not my favorite track, but I loved The Giver. I hope she puts out new music soon because I do like her stuff a lot. Chapel Roan. Chapel Roan. This was... help me with this album title. It was like Midwest Princess. I am totally blanking. Chapel Roan. The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. Excuse me. The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. Released on Amusement Records. B003 8016-01. Released in 2023. And last but not least, real quick here, Ott Hireth. I haven't spent a lot of time talking about Ott on this pod. Are we already almost at another ad break? I guess I'll go into more detail after the ad break is, but Ott's another psychedelic dub producer, right? Very similar in style to Spangle. They actually work together. Let me go ahead and... Can I snooze? Are you going to allow me to snooze? Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Ott's been around for a while. So he's been on that kind of like psychedelic electronic circuit for a while. He occasionally would make psytrance music, but he's a lot more like of a dub style producer. Why are my eyes doing that again? Let's try it again. Give me 1 second. Yeah. There's actually a really good album that was never pressed to vinyl that I hope to get one day. Hoping they eventually come back. In dub. Which is a bunch of hallucinogen singles that Ott remixed because they were originally psytrance, and he made them like super dubby and slow and just gooey, and holy shit, very, very good example of like dub music. A lot of sounds that to me kind of sound like proto dubstep almost. Like, that's not something I think people really realize or think about a whole lot, is that the dub in dubstep is the same dub that's like what came out of the reggae scene, right? What came out of like Jamaica and all these experimental producers just kind of tweaking like recordings and mixes of reggae songs, right, where they're adding like extra just reverb and distortion and repeating like instruments and like heavy bass. Um, so Ott specialized in a style of that called psychedelic dub, right, where it's like leaning more into kind of the trippy production side of things, making like electronic beats out of them. Um, all of that to say, right, Hallucinogen in Dub is a fantastic album, and he would go on to make more fantastic albums under his own name. And this is just the latest one, right? It's Hyranth. Solid album. I like a lot of this. I'll play songs from this in my like stream intros occasionally. Um, it's good. I don't think it's his best album. I think his best is probably God. He had like 4 albums in a row that were just banger after banger. Like what was it? Blumencraft was I think his first album under his like his first album after Hallucinogen in Dub. Um, God, what was the next one? Was that Skylon? Did I get that one right? Yeah, Skylon, Mirror, and then what was the last album? Fair Children. That's right. So those 4 albums, like one after another, are just amazing. Great albums. Hyranth also a really good album. So let me go ahead and add it to the list, and we have finished my record collection. I don't think I have any more records to pull out of random places. The only reason I even knew I had 2 records here was because I sometimes keep records and stuff in this box that's literally by my feet, and it just so happened that I had 2 there. Okay, Ott. Um, oh, put you above. Ott. Hyreth. Did I spell that right? Hyreth. Someone knows how to pronounce that. You are more than welcome to correct me. Um, Ott 808. What a great album. Oh my god. Is that his 8th album? He seriously cataloged this as Ott 808? Ott Sonic, I think, is his label, if I remember correctly. Vinyl. Yeah, Ott Sonic. Um, and then this came out in 2024, I think. He's got the copyright, but he doesn't have the year. What the hell, dude? 2024. Thank you. Okay, we finished the list. That's all the records I have for you. Okay, I'm not going to end stream immediately. I will end stream in just a little bit here, but close whenever you feel like it. Thank you. What I will do is I'll send you all to ads. Feel free to use this time to get up, drink water, especially if you've been sitting here for the past 3 hours. Holy shit, thank you. Um, Feel free to use this time to get up, stretch your legs, take a small break, come back in a bit. And I'm going to spend the next probably 10-15 minutes just thinking about other albums that I actually want to get at some point. I've already talked about a bunch during this stream and a little bit last stream as well. I guess I'll just end it with these are the albums I have. I have 107 albums. I have 107 vinyl records in my collection. Holy shit. Probably not the biggest collection anyone's had, but it's pretty solid. Okay, everyone go stretch your legs. Come back in 3 minutes. Where's my little BRB? Boop. For those of you who could somehow still hear me in ads, and I'll get sappy at the end of stream as well. I did want to say thank you so much for making time to come hang with me and listen to me just talk about music. I said it at the top of stream, right? I didn't realize today was my affiliate anniversary. Um, it's not that this date doesn't mean anything to me, because it definitely does, but it's not like, I think for a lot of people, right, they don't really see it until it's right up in front of their face, right? And it's kind of hard to see how much has changed as time has gone on, right? Because the last time we had an affiliate anniversary, I think I was still using my older model. No, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Because I definitely had, because the last affiliate anniversary I was playing with Amari and Zaf. That's right. Okay. Um, but no, time flies. Like, things get kind of lost in the shuffle. I had not done a DJ set in several months prior to me doing the one this evening, and I'm really glad I did because I think people enjoyed it, um, which I'm really happy about. So yeah, thank you again so much for everyone who made time to come hang with me and come see this. I promise you will not have to wait as long for the next DJ set because I absolutely want to get back into making them. But yeah, I think we're just about coming up on the end of ads here. Let me go ahead and start creating another sheet as well. So, collection, and then I'll make another sheet called Albums I Want. Artist, title. I'll go ahead and put year as well. Oop. And we are back from ads. Welcome back, everyone. I'm gonna spend the last couple minutes here, like I said, just kind of talking about some records that I'd like to get at some point, just based off kind of the discussions I've had here. Stuff that I know I listen to a lot and think would be fun to own on vinyl. I don't know how long I'm going to make this list. I'll probably just kind of freehand it a bit. I also won't spend a ton of time talking about each title. But I guess the first one, now that I'm an underscore song literally came on, underscores you. Underscores literally just put out a new album this year called You 2025. Very good album. Please go listen to it if you haven't already. I know there was a special edition of the album that was on sale earlier this year. I have to go look to see whether or not they're still selling it. But she literally designed a um she literally had a vinyl design where it looked like there were project files like inscribed into the record itself, which is pretty fucking cool. I'd love to get that if I can. If not, a regular pressing a U would work as well. But that's one of those. Every time an album comes out that I feel like has just like rocked me, I really want to get it. Um, so I guess along that same line, Death Dynamic, Shroud. I've got two albums off the top of my head I'm going to include here. First one is Faith in Persona. We've listened to a couple tracks off that already tonight. This was a Keith Rankin album that he released a couple limited pressings of back in 2021-2022 timeframe. I missed it. I think he's going to repress it pretty soon. Another one, I think this was, let me double check to see if this actually got pressed. Okay, it did get pressed. Heavy Black Heart on 2018. So Heavy Black Heart again is the first album that the three members of Death Dynamic Shroud all worked on together. It sounds a lot more. It still has kind of that mixtape feel to it, but you can tell there's something more happening there. Like it's a lot more cohesive. It's a lot. It feels like there's a lot more like I I, I don't want to say right away original production, even though like yes, their earlier albums were super plunderphonic and sample heavy, but it does feel like they're dictating a lot more of kind of the sonic direction on this instead of, I don't know, leaving it to the samples themselves to speak for it, if that makes sense. It's a good album. Go check it out. I was just thinking about this the other day. I Monster, Never Odd or Even. I had listened to the main track from this. What's it called? Daydream in Blue. And when did this album come out? Never Odd or Even. 2004? No. 2003. Thank you. I had listened to Daydream in Blue for a while, and it wasn't until I was sitting on actually one of my friends, Purple Glitter Eater, one of her streams where she was just playing the album, and I'm like, how have I never like actually gone and listened to the rest of the songs on this album? It's so fucking good. Um, and I'm happy to see that it does look like there are vinyl pressings of this because it's just like it's I've heard it like described as like trip hop, but it's more just kind of like psychedelic folk, like with electronic production. It's great. It's a good album. I like it. Um, Pretty Lights, a color map of the sun, released in 2013, I think. Uh, 2013. Let's see how much this is fucking going for right now in Discogs. So, fun fact about Pretty Lights: their entire discography is online for free. You can get everything online for free, and I don't mean like streaming services. I mean you could just go to his website and download all the shit. Right. That's kind of been his ethos the entire time. Right. He's doing it for the love of the music. He's very hip hop based, so a ton of his stuff comes from samples and crate digging anyway. Um, but his songs strike this balance between like hip hop samples and kind of just blues rock jam. And his live shows very much echo that as well, right? He's got like a full band setup that will literally just, they call it a swirl, where it's not just that they're jamming over his tracks, but they're literally like doing live remixes of the track as it's happening. Let me give you an example. There's a song from Color Map of the Sun called One Day They'll Know, right? There is also a remix of this song by Odessa, another big electronic group, on the remix album for this. When I saw Pretty Lights perform One Day They'll Know, it started off with his original song, and then they transitioned into the Odessa remix, and then they transitioned into like a 6 minute solo between the guitar and the drum and the bass player, and then it ended with like this massive like dubstep break essentially. So it's just this, they basically just take a song and just portray it in as many ways as possible. So it's like a jam, but it's like a fourth dimensional jam, I guess. I don't know. It sounds so fucking good. I love it. He did a limited pressing of this vinyl, A Color Map of the Sun, which is also up there with one of my favorite albums. Um, if you haven't heard me blab on about this, the importance of this record, Pretty Lights, for most of his career, has been doing like crate digging and doing production on top of it. On A Color Map of the Sun, he supervised the creation of every single sample that went onto this record. So he met up with a ton of musicians, rented studios with them, and essentially directed them on how to jam, what kind of riffs to go off of, and essentially just extracted all of this fantastic like music from these jam sessions, pressed all that music to vinyl, and then played the vinyl and scratched it, and then added electronic elements over it, and that's A Color Map of the Sun. Fantastic album. I'm pretty sure it was Grammy nominated too when it came out. It's so cool. It's such a cool album, like as a concept, right? And there was a limited pressing of this. Let's see how much it's going for right now. Ew. I don't like that. From $4 to $5,000. No, I want the vinyl version, please. Thank you. Okay, that's not bad. Anywhere from $361 to $1,500. So, it was last sold April 5th, 2026. Did they say how much they sold it for? They don't. But the median price for this album is $399.50. So just shy of $400. The most recent high price is $639.53. So just to say, you're going to be paying a pretty penny to get this album. He's been teasing a repress of it for a while, but who knows when the fuck that's going to happen. I certainly don't know. The second he announces a repress, I'm on that shit. Are you kidding me? Like, that's pretty much how I was with Broken Soul Jamboree and Forward Escape from Tipper. So it's going to be the same exact story. Okay. Nets, welcome on in. It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping on by, and thank you for the happy anniversary message. Oh, and your daily vinyl is wall socket. Yeah, new feature I implemented here. We finished going through most of the main collection. I'm now just kind of talking about albums I would like to add to this collection at some point in the future. Since we started with Sophie, I'll go ahead and include another one. Oil of Every Pearl's Insides. I would love to get some vinyls one day. You know what? I'm having a lot of fun with it. It definitely takes up space and it can be costly. So you definitely want to kind of budget for it and plan it out. But if you get like a decent player and just get even just a couple records going, oh my gosh, like you are well on your way to that. I love it. I love being able to keep up with musicians that I listen to and see like when they're announcing different vinyl pressings or like different styles or variants. Um, Oil of Every Pearl's Uninsides, 2018. I'm pretty sure there's a vinyl pressing of this. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. Yeah, of course there is. I'd like to get this album on vinyl if I can. Once I get my own place, it'll be on the list. Fantastic. Let's see. What else? I was trying to remember if there were other albums that were pressed on vinyl that I wanted. I know if I spend enough time sitting here and just thinking that there will be. Uh, Pendulum Immersion. Is that on vinyl? It did actually get released on vinyl. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and add that. Fuck it. Pendulum Immersion. 2010. Last sold June 5th. Someone bought this 5 days ago on Discogs. That's pretty funny. Thank you so much for the hydrate nuts. I have been really bad about hydrating myself. I've just been talking and moving. Thank you for the stretch. I'm going to go do that right now. Pendulum's Immersion is up there in terms of my favorite albums. It's probably in my top 5 or so. Solid album. It was the album they put out right before their hiatus. They had already started leaning more into kind of like rock fusion with like drum and bass beats behind it. Immersion not only continued that trend, but it also included like styles of electronic music that the two members that would go on to make Knife Party wanted to do. So there's like dubstep tracks, there's electro house tracks. Great album. I like this album a lot. I'll go ahead and include the two Spongel albums that I don't have yet, right? Museum of Consciousness. Is it a museum or is it the? That's just called museum. Museum of Consciousness. I think this was 2006. Come on. $2013. That's a lot later than I thought it would be. And then Spongel, Codex 6. which is 2017, I think. 2017. Yep. Um, both solid albums. Museum of Consciousness is a lot kind of darker than a lot of the other albums they've put out. Um, I like thinking about this album as like getting lost inside your own head, like just almost kind of feeling like claustrophobic in your own brain. Like it definitely feels a lot more psytrancey compared to the other albums they put out. And then Spangle Codex 6 has kind of a good variety of different sounds on it. It feels, some of it kind of feels like it's retreading old ground. The intro song definitely sounds like something that could have been on their Tales of the Inexpressible album, but they've got a lot of solid songs on it that are just so unique in their discography. Like Empty Brains is fantastic on it. Great album. I was just thinking there were some Pink Floyd records that I would want to get that I don't have. Animals is a solid album. That's the album they put out right after Wish You Were Here, which is another album I don't have. Holy shit, that's one I need. Wish You Were Here. Both solid albums. And while we're talking Pink Floyd, why not? I'll just go ahead and throw The Wall on there as well. Their rock opera that they put out after Animals. Um, solid albums. I like Mike the Snare's description where it's like, okay, once Dark Side of the Moon was out, Pink Floyd entered their sicko period where it's just everything they were making was just the greatest music that was ever heard, you know? Like, and that pretty much lasted all up through The Wall. So the run from Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, and The Wall, amazing 4 albums. Let me go ahead and find. I'm as I'm talking to all of you, I just remembered I lent one of my good friends the DVD of the Wall movie, and I need to get that back from him at some point. 1975, 1977, 1979. What else? What else? What else? What else? I feel so silly because I actually passed up on an opportunity to get this album. I'm like, do I really need 10,000 gecs? I'd like to have this in my collection because I did like a lot of songs off of it. 2023. Um, can you even get Skrillex vinyl? Ooh, okay, there's another one. Dorian Electra. So Dorian Electra is one of those names I will keep my eye out for them whenever I go to a record shop. I don't know if they actually have vinyl. Oh, they do, but it's limited edition. They have ooh, they have both Flamboyant and My Agenda. I like both. I like My Agenda a lot. But it looks like they're kind of limited edition, so these are probably going to be more like stretches. When did Flamboyant come out? 2019. My Agenda came out 2020. I think we're starting to get to the end of pretty much what I want. Okay, I guess there is one Tipper album that I like. Actually, did Tipper release vinyl of any of his EPs? Enough to soften up. Ain't enough to open up. Tip Hop would be a good album to get. I like that album a lot. That one's fucking rare. I don't think he put out. I don't think he put out vinyl for his. Did he not put out a vinyl for that? Sorry, I'm just now realizing he might not have actually released. Tipper, Tip Hop, vinyl. I thought he released it on vinyl. Okay. I'm incorrect. It doesn't look like there's a vinyl release for this. My bad. I got super excited at the prospect of me getting more Tipper vinyl, but I think I got pretty much everything I needed. I am absolutely going to think of titles by the time this stream ends, but I think I'm going to go ahead and call this list done here. These are the ones off the top of my head that I would love to get someday. There's definitely more albums that I didn't include here because, oh, I'll go ahead and include two more artists, Ott and Carbon Based Lifeforms. So Ott, I want to get Blumen, Craft, Mir, Skylon. I'll just go ahead and put his whole discography. Why not? Fair Children, and Heads. I did like Heads a lot. And then Carbon-Based Lifeforms was another one that I wanted to collect. Interloper, Hydroponic Garden. I spelled that wrong. Hydroponic Garden. I'll fill in these years later. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the last of it. Whew. Been going for 3.5 hours now. I'm going to go ahead and call it here, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me, for hanging with me, for all of the celebratory messages. Thank you for those who have been here since the start of this stream with my DJ set. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed it. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I will be streaming again on Monday at the usual time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then next Wednesday as well. If you would like to keep up with everything I'm doing, consider giving me a follow here on Twitch or on Blue Sky at itsradnomad.bsky.social, or the link has been posted a couple times. I'll post it one more time. My Discord. If you'd like a place where you can keep up with everything I'm doing, or just share some memes, shoot the shit, consider stopping on by. We would love to have you. I'm calling it, y'all. I'm calling it. My voice is already scratchy. I'm supposed to elite chair a meeting tomorrow. We're gonna find out how well that's gonna go. Maybe I'll just be drinking tea forever. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. Bye bye.